First at 5, Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump meeting with Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu at Mar-a-Lago. It was the first such meeting between the two men since Trump left the White House. The meeting comes just hours before Trump is expected to speak at an event in West Palm Beach tonight. Good evening. I'm Tiffany Kenny.
And I'm Shane Wright. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have a live team commitment coverage from across the Palm Beaches. Ari Height looks at who former President Trump will be addressing tonight. Terry Parker and our Angela Rozier have reaction on both sides to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit.
We begin with our co-anchor, Todd McDermott, who is live at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. Todd?
Tiffany and Shane, again today, Donald Trump, the GOP nominee for president, welcomed Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to his Mar-a-Lago home. The story has changed slightly. Originally, it was said that Trump had invited Netanyahu. That story has changed. More on that in a moment. It's the first face-to-face meeting in nearly 4 years, and it comes after the Israeli leader met with both President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee, in Washington earlier this week. The Israeli leader landing at the airport in Fort Lauderdale this morning, the motorcade making its way up the turnpike, the Southern Boulevard, crossing the bridge and past pro-Palestinian demonstrators and anti-war demonstrators before getting to the former president's home. Sources familiar with the meeting said Netanyahu requested the meeting. It was a chance to mend an important political alliance that apparently had broken down after the Israeli leader congratulated Joe Biden on his 2020 presidential victory over Donald Trump. Today, the former president stressed his support for Israel. He cited his administration's decision to move the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem and withdraw from the Iran nuclear deal and impose sanctions. When asked about a potential ceasefire and hostage release between Israel and Hamas, a deal there, the Israeli leader said Israel would be dispatching a negotiating team to discuss a proposal for a Gaza ceasefire to a team in Rome, probably at the beginning of next week.
Do you feel like after this trip, Mr. Prime Minister, we're any closer to a ceasefire deal?
I hope so, but I think time will tell. We're certainly eager to have one, and we're working on it.
Can you tell us the status of the hostage negotiations?
I think there's been some movement because of the military pressure that we exerted. I hope that there will be sufficient movement to get the deal completed.
Again, this was hours ago. Former President Trump also repeatedly urged the Israelis that with U.S. support to, quote, finish the job in Gaza and destroy Hamas. He did not elaborate on how that should be done. Protesters and supporters of the Prime Minister gathered to greet him in West Palm Beach today. Terry Parker continues our live team coverage now with that part of this story. Terry?
Todd, we saw a very large group of very loud demonstrators here at the foot of the Southern Boulevard Bridge and actually going to cross the bridge toward Mar-a-Lago. They were chanting out their displeasure with the Israeli Prime Minister, and they also said that they were critical of any U.S. leader who receives him.
President Trump.
The protesters say they are firmly against Israel's war in Gaza against Hamas. They say Netanyahu has the power to stop the war and refuses, in the process killing innocent Palestinians. The Israeli Prime Minister's motorcade jetted by the protesters around noon. The people separated from the motorcade by intense security, but still shouting out their message to end the war now.
President Trump, Prime Minister Netanyahu, whoever listening to this, you can stop this. This is for humanity.
Security was extremely robust here, keeping the protesters away from the motorcade. Police were on bikes, lining the sidewalks to keep people there, and dozens of police vehicles on the street. But there was no conflict, and police even did let the protesters walk across the bridge closer to Mar-a-Lago, but not letting them get all the way there. The protesters did withstand this intense heat, this 90-degree-plus heat, to chant and stand along the hot road for hours until the motorcade finally left. All clear now, and that intense security also all clear here at Southern Boulevard. Now we pass it on to my colleague Angela Rozier, who has a look at the supporters for former President Trump. Angela?
You know, Terry, the Israeli Prime Minister is long gone, but the message is still clear. South Florida supporters are united.
We come in peace. We love everybody.
Supporters for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump wanted to make sure their voices were heard. At times, their message was passionate.
I mean, we don't agree with them. They don't agree with us, and that's what you get.
Supporters lined up along Southern Boulevard, some with their I Stand with Israel signs and American flags, hoping the Prime Minister would see they are 100% behind him.
I'm here, first of all, to support President Trump. Second of all, to welcome Bibi. We stand with Israel. And I want them to know that even with all the protesting and the haters, that we still stand and that we are for America.
Some tell me they are against women and children being slaughtered, but aren't sure when or if the hatred will end.
I mean, I'm hoping we do. I'm praying we do. We might, but it just seems like it's only getting worse. So I'm going to just keep praying.
Now, one supporter that I did talk to says she hopes that the Prime Minister saw their message, and she hopes that he ignores the naysayers. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, back to you, Todd.
All right, Angela, thank you very much, and thanks to Terry as well. The day is not over for the GOP nominee, however. Donald Trump will headline the Believers Summit here with Turning Point Action. That is a political arm of Turning Point USA, the student organization. Security, of course, is at top of mind. We are just shy of 2 weeks since that attempt on the former president's life in Butler, Pennsylvania, in which he was slightly injured. Our Ari Height is here with me in the convention hall, Palm Beach County Convention Center, to talk about what we expect at this event tonight. Ari?
Here at the Palm Beach County Convention Center has been slowly filling up now for a while. Let me step out of the shot so you can see exactly what's going on. The first speaker is not set to take the stage for at least another hour or so, but you can see a lot of people already here. In the distance, you can see where that says Believers in Balance. Well, that gives you an idea of what's happening here tonight. This event is called the Believers Summit. It's hosted by a group called Turning Point Action. They tell me they have a sold-out crowd here of 3,500 people, including 1,000 pastors. And just to give you an idea of what this is about, it's a very religious organization. According to the Believers Summit website, they describe this event as, quote, a call for believers to rise in unity and biblical truth with an unshakable faith. They say their goal here is to counteract the prevailing woke narratives with grace, truth, and conviction rooted in the gospel. Speakers tonight include Charlie Kirk and Dr. Ben Carson, who was Secretary of Housing and Urban Development during the Trump administration. Again, the first speaker is set to go on at around 6 o'clock tonight. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump, he is set to take the stage at 8 o'clock. That's the very latest reporting live at the Convention Center. Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
All right, Ari, thank you very much. And again, Turning Point Action is a political organization. They will be looking for voters for Donald Trump over the next few months leading up to November 5th. We have just over 100 days until the election. After tonight, the GOP nominee does plan to leave Florida, head to St. Cloud, Minnesota for a Saturday night rally with his running mate, Senator J.D. Vance of Ohio. That's tomorrow night at 7 p.m.